Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Casual to Competitive, where we take non-meta decks and we examine them, we play a few games, and we try to make them better. This week we have black-red vampires in standard, kind of with a little bit of a madness sub-theme. So we'll go over the deck tech here and we'll see what we're dealing with. First off, this is kind of a budget deck. So using Fusion Gaming Online's website, we calculated out to about $110 Canadian, which would equal out to about $90 US, or 31.28 tickets on MTGO. Most expensive cards right now are the Fatal Pushes and the Metallic Mimics, along with the lands. Okay, so the basic theme of this deck is kind of a beatdown deck. Black-red is our colors, and we're dealing with vampires, obviously. So our main way of killing our opponent is with small, cheap creatures that are give us some extra value. So in that vein, we have a set of legendary vampires. We have Drana, Liberator of Malakir, which is a 2/3 flying first strike for 3 mana, 2 black, 1 colorless. And whenever it deals damage to combat damage to a player, you can put a 1/1 counter on each attacking creature you control. So it's a good way to build up our creatures. And then our other legendary vampire is Yahenni Undying Partisan, which is a new one from Aether Revolt. I'm kind of excited to try it out. So it's also a 3 mana, this time a 2/2 with haste though. And whenever a creature your opponent controls dies, you put a 1/1 counter on Yahenni, and you can also sacrifice another creature and make it gain indestructible until the end of the turn. Along with that, we have some other stuff to help out. So we have 3 Metallic Mimics, and what Metallic Mimic does, you get to choose a creature type when it enters the battlefield, and it's that type in addition to other types, and each creature you control of that type enters the battleground with another 1/1 counter on it. So it's a good way to buff up our creatures, kind of like a mini lord. There's no real vampire lords, but this one is kind of one. We have, we're kind of an aggro train, so we have some, we have Falkenrath Gorgers, which are 4 1-drops, which are basically a 2/1, and each vampire card has Madness that equals its own mana cost. So what that means is Madness is when you can discard it, or when you discard it, it exiles, and then you can cast it for its Madness cost. So that gives all of our other vampires Madness as well. Then we have a couple of, these are kind of our middle of the road type vampires in our deck. So we have Stromkirk Occultist, which is a red vampire horror with 3 mana, 1 red, 2 colorless. Also has a madness cost of 1 red, 1 colorless. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can exile the top card of the library. Until the end of the turn, you can play that card. So it's kind of just a way to get value. We don't really have any card draw in this deck, so that's a way to kind of get some value along that path. Next one we have is Stromkirk Condemned, which is another vampire horror, this time double black for a 2/2. And you can discard a card, and vampires you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn, activate it only once per turn. So that is a madness generator, so we can discard cards to it, like, if we have a Bloodhall Priest, for example, or a Fiery Temper, or we have a Falkenrath Gorger in play with another vampire. It's a good way to get value off of that. And then we have Gifted Aetherborn. It's another 2/3 Death Touch Lifelink for 2 black, another vampire, Aetherborn vampire. It's not a vampire Nighthawk, but it's not bad. It's a good blocker, it's good in the late game for blocking, and it can generate us some extra life. And if we can pump it up with, our Drana or a Mimic or something like that, it'll definitely help out. Our top end is a Bloodhall Priest. So it's a 4/4, and if you, when it enters the battlefield, if you have no cards in your hand, it deals 2 damage to a creature or a player. Like I said, our top end is not very high because we're trying to stay low to the ground, trying to kill our opponents quickly. We do have Olivia as well. So Olivia mobilized for war, 1 black, 1 red, 1 colorless, 3/3 flyer. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield you control, you can discard a card, another madness activator there. If you do, you put a 1/1 counter on it, it gains haste, and it becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. So that goes along with our Madness plan. It also helps us grow our creatures quickly. It also gives them haste, which can be pretty important in certain matchups. We do have some removal here. So we have 3 unlicensed disintegrations, which is, it's not Terminate and it's not Dreadbore, but it's the best that we got. So 1 black, 1 red, 1 colorless. Destroy target creature. If you control an artifact, it deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. We have no artifacts in our deck, so that's never going to come into play. We also have a Fiery Temper. So 2 red, 1 colorless, deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and you can madness it for 1 red. Once again, I'm probably going to madness this most of the time. Then we have what I like to call the engine, quote unquote, in this deck. So we have 4 Stensia Masquerades, which is a 3-mana enchantment, 1 red, 2 colorless. And attacking creatures you control have first strike, and whenever a vampire you control deals combat damage to a player, you put a 1/1 counter on it. So once again, along with our plan, it also has a madness cost of 2 colorless, 1 red. Growing our vampires, dealing extra damage. First strike comes into play eventually, especially in like current metagame. There's lots of creature heavy decks out there, so it definitely helps out there. And then we also have Call the Bloodline. So 1 black, 1 colorless for a black enchantment, and you can pay 1 colorless to discard a card and create a 1/1 black vampire knight creature token with light flank. Activate this ability only once each turn. So once again, another way to enable madness as well as generate some value on the ground. So that's our main board. Our sideboard is kind of in a transformative state. I found this deck online. There wasn't really a set sideboard to it. So I kind of went together and put this together. So basically we have 2 more Fiery Tempers just to complement the 2 we have for creature heavy matchups. We need some removal or to go upstairs. We have 2 Shocks as well, same kind of thing. There's lots of small creatures that are piloting vehicles or crewing vehicles and stuff like that, so that's a good way to get rid of them. We have 2 Fatal Pushes, same kind of idea to clear up the ground. Then we have 2 Ruinous Paths for planeswalkers that we can't kill with creatures, and then we have Lost Legacy. So Lost Legacy is an interesting card. 2 black, 1 colorless, name a non-artifact, non-land card. Should search that target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles his or her library and draws a card for each card exiled from his hand this way. So this is good in matchups that have like an overarching threat or an engine, like a Panharmonicon deck, or Dynavolt Tower decks, any deck that has like some kind of card that's an engine that is driving the way their deck works. This is a good way to get rid of it. Also, troublesome creatures can help get rid of them preemptively. We also have 2 Transgress the Mind, same kind of idea. Someone is getting rid of counter spells, getting rid of removal, board sweepers, etc. It's a good way to protect our creatures. And then we also have Distended Mindbender. So this kind of is an interesting choice. I was playing I played this deck a few matches already, and I was playing against a lot of combo decks where they're trying to bridge or planar bridge out something big, and this card helped out a lot in those matchups. So it's an Eldrazi Insect for 8 mana. It's a 5/5, but it has an emerge cost 5 colorless, 2 black, and when you cast it, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose from a non-land card with converted mana cost 3 or less, and a card with converted mana cost 4 or greater, and that player discards those cards. So it's a good way to disrupt someone's combo or someone's big creature or something like that, along with being a decent body on the ground and helping us clear the way. Also, for the emerge cost isn't too hard because we do have some 3-mana creatures. We do have some double black creatures to clear that up. So if we can get it out for like 4 mana, 4 colorless, that's pretty good, or something along those lines. So that's the deck. We're gonna get into some matches right away, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching.